Welcome into Seeing Scarlet. What's up, Red Raiders? How we doing? It's the getting towards the end of the year, and me and Shelby thought long and hard about this, and we said we got to give the people one more present for this year, and that's what we're doing today, y'all. We have Brynn Williams, an
Uh,
incredible player from our Texas Tech volleyball team, and I cannot wait till we get to hear more from Brynn and her story. And so, yeah, let's go ahead and get into it. Brynn, welcome in. We're so excited to have you here today. Thanks for coming to hang out.
Thank you for having me. This is really exciting. I'm really excited to be here.
It's been a fun season getting to cover y'all for the first time. I know the season necessarily didn't go how y'all wanted it to, but we started this in January of last year, so this was our first season to cover volleyball, and you were one of the players that fans gravitated towards. Your energy's awesome. But to start from the top, let's just start with how did you end up at Texas Tech? Like people just always want to know that story, that origin story. So
hmm
how did you end up
Yeah.
here?
So I'm gonna start from the very beginning then. I started
Yeah.
playing volleyball whenever I was 11 years old, in Arlington, Texas. That's kind of where I'm from.
Okay.
Started playing then, and that was after I stopped running track. So I was running track from about age 5 to 10 years old, and then once again, 11 is whenever I started playing volleyball. And I kind of voiced to my parents like, "Hey, I really want to be in team sport because track is kind of more individualized." And I was like, "I want to be in that environment. I want to have other people side by side with me." And I kind of want to just enjoy once again that team aspect of being an athlete. And so I started playing when I was 11, and then I was on one of the lowest ranked teams. But I was just the tallest. I was actually one of the tallest girls, which is hilarious because now I'm almost one of the shortest girls. Um, but I was one
Funny
of the
how that
tallest
happens.
girls. Yeah, I was one of the tallest girls on the team, and so I actually started in the middle. And so that was kind of my thing. I did that for about 2, 3, 4 years. And then my 14th year, my coach had switched me to outside position, which is where I play right now. So I played there and I was kind of nervous because I'm like, okay, like new position. But it kind of sucked. And that's where I am right now. So from 14s all the way till now, I'm still in the outside position. And then for my recruiting process, I would say I started recruiting around freshman year of high school. So I was about 14, turning 15.
Oh.
And that's whenever during that time, and I know rules have changed, but during that time, that's whenever recruiting would start to kick up. If you really wanted to be very serious about volleyball, that was your time to do so, to really dip your toes and be serious about, once again, that sport. And so you would get letters, you get messages about schools and other things like that. And so what's funny is the first recruiting letter I've ever got was from Tech. First letter. And so I'm like, oh my goodness. So I was like 15 years old once again. I'm like, Dad, like this is so exciting. I got news in the mail, this is a college and it's big time in college. And I was just really, really thrilled. And so 2020, once again, my sophomore year, we had COVID. So that kind of slowed things down. Obviously, recruiting was a little different because you couldn't go in person now. And so with your recruiting process, it kind of came to a stop. And so everything was distant. So virtual phone calls, virtual tours, and all FaceTime calls was going on. So going back actually to my freshman year again, I had came to a camp at Tech, and it was the first college camp that I came to, and I really, really loved it. And it's a weird thing because even now I tell recruits like you'll know that feeling whenever you get to the campus that you're meant to be for. And that's exactly what I got here. So I only ever toured one other campus, and I automatically knew that that was not for me. But once again, whenever I got here, the feeling that I got was just comfort, home away from home, and that I'd be safe whenever it was my time to be here. So it wasn't really like overwhelming feeling, but it was like once again just peaceful and comforting. I just felt like I could be myself here, and that's still exactly how I feel here in Lubbock. So that was kind of how I came to Texas Tech. And like I said, the camp that I went to, it was actually our elite camp. So once again, I was really young. Looking back, I'm like, oh my goodness, I was 15 years
Yeah.
old. And once again, I'm not the tallest ever. And so I'm like, Dad, these girls have to be so much older than me. He's like, no, they're your age. I was like, okay. And so the camp went well. And then what happened was the next day, I think the camp was about 2 days long. The next day, Tony had called me. I was back home in Mansfield, and he had called me. I'm like, oh my goodness, like what's going on? And then that's whenever he pulled the trigger, and now I'm here. And so I feel like it really worked out because I connect with the coaching staff. Tony G and it's just the relationship piece that I feel like we have, which is very important. It's not just coach player is like almost mentor, and then I like follow him, I listen to him, and I take what he
Love
says
that.
so seriously. So I just really look up to him and respect him a lot. So I just appreciate everything that he's done for me to obviously get me here and to have me wear this logo across my chest. So,
Yeah.
but like I said, just being here in Lubbock, I feel like I can really be myself. So I feel like that's something that's very, very important to anyone, whenever you're going through the recruiting process. And not every school is going to be meant for you. You know, every school is different. They have their own characteristics, you know, traits that they like may have and that you may not like or that you may like, you know. So it just kind of depends on the person and how you fit there. But that's how I came to be a Red Raider, and yeah, I couldn't be happier.
Ugh, everything.
I
I
love
love
that
that answer
story.
so much. All of it. All
Thank
the
you.
parts of
It's
it.
so good.
That's
Thank
that's
you.
why.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, that's why you're a fan favorite for sure.
Thank you.
All right, so Bryn, I have a question, and with watching y'all this season, it's been the first time that I've watched an entire season of a team playing volleyball, so I've learned a
Mhm.
lot, but there's still some things that I'm trying to understand a little bit more, so maybe you can help us or help me out with that. But when you say you're an outside hitter, I can physically see where your position is, but can you tell us more of like what is the role of an outside hitter? Like what makes a good
Yeah.
outside hitter? Yeah,
Yes.
tell us a little bit more about the role that you play.
Gotcha. So outside hitter, there's two of them. They obviously they're opposite. So let's say on the court you have three across the front, three across the back. So you will have an outside hitter in zone four, and then you'll have an outside hitter in zone one. So they're just opposite. So let's say when one goes front row, the other goes back row, and then vice versa. So they never are in the front row at the same time. And then the job for an outside hitter is kind of a lot, but I love it so much. So we get to pass, serve, block, defend, attack. Unlike
Everything.
the other hitter, yeah, a little bit of everything, right? Unlike the other hitters, the right side and the middles, we may go back to serve, or actually the middles do go back to serve, but go back to serve as well, and then serve, receive, and then defense in the back row. So, like I said, a little mix of everything, which is nice because you get to see the game in its entirety. But yeah, we do front row action, back row attacks, front row attacks, all that stuff. So it's a little mix of all the little skills besides setting in the game.
That
I love
makes
that.
so much sense
Yeah,
when we look at
yeah.
your stats. Like I remember thinking of this question because I was reading your stats and being like, "Oh, Bren does it all?" Question mark. And so it makes sense
Mhm,
that, that is a very detailed like position and you're
mhm,
responsible for so many different things.
yeah.
What can you say, like what do you bring as a player to the team? Maybe like yes, your expertise, we know you're good. What are some other things that you bring to the team and the
Mhm.
team atmosphere?
Yeah, so I would like to say energy. I
Yes.
think I get really focused at times, but once I'm like, oh my goodness, like that was a crazy point, I'm all for it. So I would hope I like bring energy to the team and then just communication. I think my communication skills, I'm still working on it, but being effective and efficient with it and knowing how to speak to one another, I think is really important. One, whenever you're on a team, but two, just like if you're on a volleyball team, knowing, hey, like this person may like this to be said this certain way. So just using those skills to my advantage and like working on those so I can help contribute to the team to help. And maybe a little bit of spice, a little bit of character to the team. So that's two of the things I think I can bring
Yeah.
to the court. Yeah.
Your facial expressions are a favorite.
Yeah.
As someone that
Here. That's
has to make
nice.
content for this thing,
Hmm.
I'm like, I can just wait for Bryn to do anything, and then we'll just clip that, and everyone's gonna love it, and we're done.
Yeah.
That's all we need. No, that's great.
That's good.
And I actually noticed when we talked about on the show this year, as yeah, y'all. It was a really tough conference, and y'all playing a lot of really tough games. But we noticed as the season went on, like you, even as a sophomore, and really you didn't play a lot as your freshman year either. So like this is your first chance to play quite a bit. We noticed you taking that leadership role. And we were like, dang, Brent's like speaking up. Like y'all get a big point, or y'all come back and get a big set, and you could like
Mm.
visibly see you or Correa like in the huddle, like it's only one, like let's do it again. And I'm like, that's a really
Hmm.
impressive from a sophomore.
Yeah.
So I
Thank
appreciate that as a
you.
fan, and we can see that. So I'm sure that'll just keep growing as you take
Yes.
on a
Thank
bigger role
you.
next year. But to expand upon that a little bit is you kind of, at least for fans, came out a little bit out of nowhere this year, and some of that comes from the roster. Two of players that left in the spring unexpectedly. Maybe you were thrust into that role a little bit sooner than people thought, and you even talked about in your intro that for this position in this sport, you're not as tall as other people are, but you still were able to excel. Can you talk about both of those things
Mm.
a little bit and how you were able to overcome that in your sophomore season?
Yeah, so obviously, like you said, last year I didn't play as much. I still kind of got my toes, a little bit wet, but obviously not to the capacity that I did this past year. So I think that with the opening, that did allow me to kind of get in the court more.
Yeah.
I really just want to take care of that opportunity, take it to my advantage. So obviously it starts in the spring. What you do there is what's going to translate in the fall. So going back to work in the spring, knowing like, hey, we have two girls leaving out, there's a big opening in my position group. What can I do to make sure that I will receive an opportunity and like give myself the best chance, to be in that spot for next year. So I think once again, I think it's just the work that you put in the off season just once again translates. So if I had to give any advice, that's what I would say. Like, hey, if you want to shine on Saturday nights, you have to grind on Monday mornings. So it's just really that mindset of like, hey,
Clip it.
whatever.
Clip it.
It's just that mindset of you gotta do whatever you gotta do to make sure you get there, And I always talk to Tony, or I especially would a lot my freshman year, like, oh my goodness, I'm so excited, like wearing the jersey, and that's still a big, big, big deal and a huge accomplishment. But now it's kind of settling in, all the dust is a little settled, and I'm going into my third year, like, yes, the jersey's amazing, it's a huge honor, but also like, once again, just being calm, knowing that the moment is not too big for where I am right now, and just knowing that I can do whatever, they set me up for. So I think once you just grind it out, and it's not going to be fun, it's not pretty, it's not beautiful all the time. There's mornings where you're like, oh no, like, we may have this right now, but it's just knowing that it's going to pay off. And I
Yeah.
know that once you do, like, once again, see us on Friday nights, Saturday nights playing our game, like, it's not just out of the blue. We worked for this, we're grinding for it. So yeah, I think that's kind of my mindset going into it, because once again, being an outsider is a huge role. It's not super duper easy, and nothing on the court is really easy at all, So, you know, um, I just think just really working for it, really, really working for it, and putting everything you got into it, whether it's Saturday morning, Sunday mornings, it doesn't matter, any
Mm-hmm.
free time and you have a ball and you have a gym, you're getting touches, you're getting reps in. So that was my mindset this past spring and summer. So, and it's very competitive. Our position group is very competitive.
Mm-hmm.
So just knowing that you have these girls as well, we're all kind of fighting for it. So that's just kind of how it played out. And thankfully, I'm so grateful for the opportunity that I got this past year. But yeah, I look forward to way more and way more opportunities, hopefully. So, but once again, that's all determined by the work that you put in, and, what you want to do with your career and how you want to make it. So,
I'm
yeah.
sitting here thinking of all of the things that you've already said. Like you talked about in your intro how you wanted to be a part of team sports, and now you have this mentality of like a whole different perception of sports and how you can show up for the team. And I'm so glad that you've made that decision and to see you, yeah, like iron sharpens iron with this team. Shelby and I talked about it this whole
Yes.
season. It's like the talent is so present. The talent is there, and just didn't work out in the way that we wanted it to. So we hear this now, and hearing your mental side of things, it's like, yeah, we saw that happen on the court for you, Brynn, and your improvement. And you're talking about it now of, we're settling in, where the dust is settled, Red Raider jersey on. What are you hoping to see next season? Like, what are some of the goals that are you thinking about that now? Are you thinking about goals for yourself? What does that look like thinking about next season?
Yeah, so I definitely think going into next season, there's a lot of, I already know with the group that we do have, a lot of fire right now, kind of with some of the things going on, which aren't all negative, but,
Yeah.
girls may
Mhm.
be leaving out. We're
Yeah.
kind of like, okay, this is who we have, and we're going to make the best out of this.
Yeah.
So I know the coaches are very determined. We're very determined. And this is honestly some of the most fire I've ever felt in my life. Just because it is hard seeing, you build friendships, you build relationships, seeing them go, and you hope they go, somewhere that may be a better fit for them. So obviously you wish the best. And
Yeah.
so it's just staying here. I'm still prideful to wear the double T once again, but I think it's just a lot of fire. And I don't want to say too much, but thinking about it gets me really hyped, because I'm just like, there's so much more I want to accomplish. There's so much more I want to do. I know that the girls beside me have that same mentality right now.
Love
So
that.
I haven't thought too much about the next fall. All I'm thinking about is spring, honestly, because
Mm.
obviously we're about to go home. Um, what can I do in the spring? Every single day. Every single day, what can I do to make sure that, once again, when we put that jersey back on, that we see it for ourselves, the coaches see it for themselves, and then hopefully, the fans will see it. So Thinking about it just
Sire.
makes me really like
I
excited. I
know.
haven't even been asked this question yet, and so it's like I'm holding back a little bit, but that's just because I
I
just
hear
want to
you.
do it all.
Yeah.
To where, like I said, once it's time, it's time. So
And
No,
you know, like
that's
that's such
good.
a perfect part of it too, of like working on it day by day. And you, like, yes, you have big goals, and but
mm,
like you got that fire in there. Oof, we can't wait to see the flame. So yeah, I'm with
thank
you on
you.
that.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, and you talked about it earlier, like that. It's great to be fired up in August, but if you're not fired up in December and ready to go
Hmm.
work for the next 3 months, August
Yeah,
isn't going to be anything but just games or
yeah.
matches. Sorry, I'm learning.
No, you're
But
good. You're good.
yeah. So you talked a little bit about your teammates, the ones that you're there with you now. Tell us a little bit more about them, about who you think, as far as coming back, people should know about. Or yesterday
Mm,
was announced y'all got a new transfer from Brynn Tech. I don't know how much you know
yes,
about her yet. You gotten to know her yet? Just talk a
yes.
little bit about your teammates so fans can know about them a little bit more.
Yes, so obviously we're gonna have Maddie Correa back and then Reagan
Mhm.
Engler back. So I'm super excited about those two. I'm excited about the entire team, but I'm
Of
gonna
course, yeah.
highlight these two just because they hit my heart kind of deep.
Yeah.
Maddie Correa, I was just at the game with actually, and we're really good friends. We built a really good bond. The past 2 years I've been here, I trust her. I feel like she trusts me. I feel like we do a really good job at calming each other down in the really big moments during a game. And she does that for me. I hope I do that for her too. But she's just that person for me that's just kind of really stable. She knows how to once again calm me down and bring me back down to earth whenever I may be overthinking or something may be really crazy going on. But she's that person for me. And then another person I would like to highlight is Reagan Engler. Love her so much. She's hilarious. First off, really good sense of humor.
Good, good.
But I know you guys seen this past year. She has that fire to her, and she's the
Yes.
person in practice like, hey, we got to pick it up. We got to do better. This isn't good enough. Not in a negative way, but just kind
Yeah,
of a reminder
you
like,
need
hey,
that. You need that.
this is kind of where we are right now. We need to be here. We need to be here. We need to be here. So I know that that's the girl that's never really going to settle for anything. She always wants more, 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 more. Whether it's more reps, more whatever it is, she wants all that because she wants to win. She wants to win. So I'm really happy to be playing beside them. And once again, just speaking about them makes me fired up once again. So I'm really happy to have them by my side. I think Tony did a good job at picking those two to be on the team. So, and then our transfer, I'm really excited because I'm gonna live with her next year, which is nice.
Okay,
And I
nice.
met her on her visit this past weekend, and we kind of exchanged socials, so we were snapping back and forth, which is nice. And she just seems like a really cool girl, and I'm really happy to have her. And it looked like she had a really good season or career at Virginia Tech, and she said she was just looking for a little bit of a change up. So she came to Lubbock. She loved it, and now she's a Red Raider. So I'm excited to have her
Let's
here,
go.
and I hope everything plays out very well for her. So I'm really excited for that. And I think she'll be here in January, so she'll hit the hay.
Okay.
She'll be running off in January with us, so we'll have time to like develop skills and connections and all that stuff, so that whenever Paul comes around, it won't be all kind of mixed match or anything. But yeah,
Yeah, that seems like it has to help quite a bit. And I believe when we talked to
yeah.
Coach Greystone last week, he said there was even 3 freshmen that are showing up early this year out of the class as well.
Mhm.
So that's cool
Yes.
for y'all, especially when you're sitting here talking about all this fire and how much you want to work. I'm already like Bryn, Reagan,
Put
Maddie's
me in a
they're
jersey right now.
they're gonna put
Yes.
these freshmen. They better be ready to work, and I love
Yeah.
that because when we've had a
Mhm.
chance now, we've been doing this for a year to talk to different sports, and soccer had the season they had, and they talked in their interviews. They told us like this didn't happen in July. This happened in January. We all got together and said, "Yeah, we've been okay, but this year we're gonna do big things." And that so you're kind of giving me the
Yeah.
same vibes, and
Yeah.
I can't wait to see it
I
personally.
know. And
Yes.
I love that, like, they're getting to learn from you, and you're getting to learn from each other, and you're showing the Raider way, and I can't think of anybody better than you
Thank
to
you.
yeah,
Thank
take
you.
her
That
under
means a
the
lot.
wing. So no,
Thank
that's
you.
for real. And I loved how, like, you're talking about Maddie and Reagan, and we know if we had you for hours, you would talk about the whole team the same way. One of the things that I enjoy about every sport, but particularly volleyball, is you're talking about energy and you're talking about that fire. I love every time that y'all score a point, it is a like celebration. And I don't
Mhm.
know if this is like a hot topic in the volleyball world, or
Mhm.
like if this is something that you answer all the time, but like
Mhm.
w- tell people, like, what is it like in that situation, because we talked to
Mhm.
Maddie and Curry earlier too, and they talk about like momentum and
Yep.
having that energy, and knowing, Bryn, that you give a lot of that. Like, what are y'all saying in those huddles? Or is it just like
Yeah.
a let's go and then it's back to business?
Just
It's
emotion.
so it's
Sometimes
hype.
it's that. Sometimes it's literally just that.
You did it.
It kind of depends on the situation, you know. So obviously if you're up, you have that fire, you're hyped, you're excited, you know, you want to do more, 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 more. And obviously if you may be down, you know, it's kind of like, okay, deep breath. And Maddie Correa is really good at this. She'll say, hey, everyone take a deep breath right now. And so whether you want to or not, you're taking deep breaths because Maddie Correa said it, you know, so you're doing it. So that's kind of really good because it relaxes your brain, relaxes your body, your muscles, and you just think about one point in time. And that's the thing with volleyball, that if you're in volleyball, you know this and you've heard this 1,000 times, you have to have that 1 point mentality or that 10-second mentality because that next point is coming whether or not you're still thinking about the previous last 5 points. So that's what Coach Tatum mentions to me also, like 10-second mentality or memory is what she says, 10-second memory. And that's something I would still like to work on, you know, not dwelling on the past. But I think that comes with time and maturity, you know. But that's the thing. That's kind of what goes on in the huddle a little bit. It just depends on the situation. So, but yeah, if it's like a monster block from one of our middles, one of our pins, oh my goodness, all we're doing is screaming and then we're going right back out there, you know? So like I said, it just kind of varies. I know a lot of people ask, like, why do you guys go to the huddle every time? I'm like,
I love it.
honestly, it's just what
It's
volleyball
fun.
is. So
It is
it's just
so
volleyball.
perfect.
Yeah.
You
Every
kind of have
sport should be
to.
like that.
You
Yeah,
kind of have to
like,
because
Yeah.
it's such a mental sport, which we talked a lot about on the show.
Hmm.
It's like, I mean, you can dominate someone in a whole set, and you're like, well, we got to walk back out here. It's 0-0. I'm like, what? Like, I come from basketball
Yeah.
background. I cannot imagine winning like 25-5 in the first quarter, then I walk out there on the court and it's 0-0. I'm like, wait, what? It's like, well,
Yeah.
excuse
Yeah.
you. So I
It's
think
not
it's
over
so
till it's over. Yeah.
yeah, and y'all proved that a few times this year. Even had a
yeah.
reverse sweep. So on that note, let's
Hmm.
flip it over to yeah, the season as a whole didn't end how y'all wanted it to, but you're excited for the next year. What were some of the highlights from the season as a team, individually, whatever you want to talk about?
A lot, absolutely.
Let's go.
Um,
List them.
One thing for me that was really, really important to me, and I was so glad that we got the chance to do it, was playing at BYU.
Yeah.
Because I know personally for me, growing up, I watched all the greats play, and I'm so excited I get to talk about this now. Watched all the greats play from like Stanford 2016 team, Morgan Hintz, Catherine Plummer playing there. Absolute studs, and I think they're on the USA team. So just seeing all the big time teams play and then walking in there for the first time, you've seen on TV so many times. You've seen all the major coaches play, you know, walking in there. And I actually posted on my Snapchat that day. I was like, little Brynn is in disbelief because
Aw.
I was sixth grade, seventh grade watching them, watching BYU play, watching Texas play there. And I was just like, oh my goodness. Because I never would have thought I would have played D1 Power 5 volleyball. And so now to be here, and then I'm like, wow. And then to play there, you know, take it to 5, and then that be nationally televised. It's insane because I'm just
Yeah.
like, never would I've thought, first off, you know? So I think that was one of the biggest deals. And also being commentated by Paul Sunderland,
I was
who
about to
is
say, yeah.
one of the best commentators, you know? So, and he's been commentating once again all the great volleyball players. So to hear what he has to say about me, you know, I take that very seriously. And that's not something that I just kind of in one ear and out the other. So
Yeah.
that entire experience was amazing. You know, obviously we would have loved to get the win, but to have played there not once but twice this year, really, really cool. And to have my entire family. What's funny is actually I have another story about it. Um, my brother plays at Cal Berkeley, and
Mm-hmm.
he had played Utah that weekend. And so my parents and both sides of their families, both their parents had flew out to Utah, and they drove between Provo and Salt Lake City to see my game, my brother's game, and then my game again. So it's
That's
only
so
45
cool.
minutes between.
Yeah.
And so it was really, really cool to see my
That's so
family, both sides, like there, you know, because you don't see your family all the time, especially whenever
yeah.
you're a fall sport. So you may miss Thanksgiving, you know, Halloween, whatever it is. So to see them there, that was really cool as well. You know, my family, my parents are my biggest supporters, and my dad being there, my mom being there, and just hearing what they have to say after the game and just talking to them, you know, I take it very seriously. So really cool experience was BYU. And so another experience, well, this was last year, my freshman year.
Okay.
But walking into Gregory Gymnasium,
Mm.
which is where Texas plays, huge deal once again. You
Yep.
know, just kind of the location, the history behind the program, and the history behind the arena. It's just something that you won't ever forget playing there. Because once again, growing up, you're gonna watch Texas. Living in Texas, you're gonna watch Texas volleyball growing up as a
For
little kid.
sure.
So
Yeah.
I think that was just those are two like surreal moments that I've had so far while I've been here at Tech. So I'm really happy to, experience it. Obviously you want to get the wins, but once again, that's what happens, or that's what you do in spring. And that's why you put all that work in.
My gosh, baby Brynn is
Oh
so
my
proud of you
gosh.
right now.
Oh.
Baby Brynn is so proud of you right now. Like, what a cool, like, you
Yeah.
had a dream and you got to see it happen. And so, like, your stories of saying, like,
Yeah.
BYU and Texas, and, like, that's baby Brynn being like, we did it. Let's go.
I know. I know.
But
And I actually have one more. I'm sorry. And the problem with me,
Oh
I can
no.
talk forever.
don't be sorry. Keep
You
going.
go. This is your show. We're just
Kansas.
here.
Kansas. Kansas, 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 Kansas.
Wild.
Oh
Kansas,
my
Kansas.
gosh.
That one was, yes, we
It
agree.
it is so funny because that day I'm in class, I'm like shaking the entire day because it was the first day of conference. You finish 2 days, you're doing summer workouts, they're hard, they're killing your butt, you're dead afterwards, so you're exhausted. And then it's like, yeah, preseason conference play comes. That was the first game, obviously. And so I'm like jittery all day. I'm in class. I can't focus. I can't think. I'm calling my dad. I'm like, Dad, I can't focus. I don't know what's going on. I'm just thinking about the game, like when we're going to get there. And so I had gotten gas that day, and I have a sticker in my car that says Texas Tech Volleyball. And a guy was like, "Oh, do you play?" I was like, "Yeah, I do." He was like, "Oh, when's your next game?" I was like, "We actually have one tonight."
Get
And
there.
he was
Yeah.
like, "Oh, like I'll be there." I was like, "Okay, cool." But it was just funny because that just it didn't help my mindset. I'm like, I'm already thinking about it. Now I'm getting gas. Maybe my mind may be cleared from it, and then I get reminded again. But honestly, I didn't care because guess what? We won the game, and that's what's. I was
It was
like,
awesome.
oh my goodness. And so for them to be like top 25 ranked, that's a big deal. And so upset alert on NCAA.com and the Instagram account, we went ballistic in the locker
Yes.
room
Oh, I
afterwards. It
bet.
was insane. And I remember driving home from the arena to where I live. I'm like, this is crazy. Like,
Still
this is what I
shaking.
live for. Yeah,
Like, well, we
this is
just
what I
did
live
that.
for.
We just did
I
that.
know. Not because I didn't think so, but just the reverse sweep for the first
Yeah.
conference game and the ranked top 25.
Yes.
That's
Yes.
not really an everyday thing. So
Correct.
to do it,
No.
you're very excited. We had a game after that. So, kind of celebrate quick, focus on the next day. But like I said, driving home, like, this is what I live for. Like, this is why I love to do it. Like, just this
Oh,
Oh,
feeling right here. So
yeah.
those were my top moments, I would say, of the season.
I like it.
And it's funny because I write them down on my phone, just to relive them. So
I love
yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was obviously one of our favorite moments for volleyball, but it was just one of the best weeks in Texas Tech sports for 2023 because it was the day
Yeah.
after soccer walked off Texas with that last second goal.
Mhm.
So we did
It was
that, and then the
good.
next day we covered y'all's game, and we were like, we haven't slept in 56 hours
I know.
because of these two games. This
We
is
were
great.
I
unwell.
know.
This is
We
No,
were
hype.
no.
insufferable.
I
That's
have
so
something for you here if it works.
mm,
We've showed clips in a different platform before. We've never done it on here, so we're gonna see if this works. But let you relive this
okay.
clip because it was one of the wildest
Oh,
things I've ever seen watching
okay.
volleyball, but really any sport.
It's
So
a good one.
we'll just let you watch it and do your
Okay.
thing with it.
Just underway here in Provo. Number 9 BYU on top by a pair.
I can't see it, but I know what it is.
Nice do
Yes,
by
perfect.
I know what it is.
That ball's up.
That might make it better.
That might make it better. Just
I
reload
want
it.
you to, yeah, I want you to tell us
And
what
again.
you're seeing.
Any way to keep it off the floor.
Well, really good work
Mm.
defensively. And team defense as well. Brynn Williams
Yeah.
with the stuff, but Reese Rhodes, the 6.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was.
Like I said, I couldn't see, but I know exactly what it is.
Could you
And
hear it at least?
yes.
Okay,
Yes.
we'll
yes,
we'll
yes.
make sure it shows for the people. It probably just wasn't
No,
big enough
yes.
on your screen, but yeah.
No. That was insane. Yes, and I know you guys have posted about it. Like 2 pancakes and a kick save. I'm like, Kate, what made you kick that ball? She's like, we used to practice that all the time. I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm like, you guys used to practice that? She's like,
Good
yes. I'm like,
point.
oh my gosh. And it's like the pancakes. Pancakes aren't easy because you have to extend your body. You're fully extended,
Painful.
and you don't have any more to give. You can't push whenever you're already on the ground flat.
Yeah.
So two of them in the same rally is kind of unheard of, first off. And then, the block to seal it off was just, oh my
Oh,
gosh.
let's kiss.
Oh my
It was so
gosh.
good.
Yes.
It was
I was like
wild.
I
so
know.
excited,
I
especially
think
once again in that arena. It's just, Crazy,
So
crazy,
good.
I think that was the
I
part
loved it.
where BYU was like, "Oh no, we're in for it. This team's not going to just lay down." And
Yeah.
we thought we had an easy night, and then I think y'all were like the first team to push them to 5 sets in
Mhm.
forever at home when y'all did that. So yeah, that was hype. So we love that.
That was crazy.
It was
So
a really good
crazy.
one.
Wow.
I think what I've learned from with Shelby in like this past year is like flips like that happen with this team constantly. Yes, maybe not like as
Mhm.
all compact into one play.
Yeah. Yeah.
But what I think is really cool is, I mean, volleyball has just grown to a level of, exposure where we can watch y'all play on ESPN Plus like every single game. And so we have this like,
Yeah.
oh, these plays are huge and they happen all the time. We just now have the accessibility to watch y'all play. And
Mm.
it always reminds me of just how much volleyball has grown. And Shelby and I have talked about this about every sport, probably every single time we have an episode of just the growth with volleyball is it's so fun to be a part of right now. And I am looking forward to seeing, that happen with this team more so than it already has. But when you think about Brynn, your like brief experience, I guess, in terms of your life.
Mhm.
But when you think about the growth of volleyball just on the scale of collegiate and beyond, what's something that's like really exciting for you as you are living through this as an athlete on this team?
I think what's most exciting about obviously the growth of this sport is just like knowing that well, first off, we were getting recognized, but getting more recognition for, obviously the work that you put in. You don't put in work for 10 plus years, 15 plus years, just for it to kind of go underneath the rug. So like us, or like for any other sport, you want people to come to your games. You want people to support you. You want people to see you in your element, see you in your prime, and see you do what you love to do. So I think that's really exciting, just knowing all the girls across the country that put their everything into it. Finally maybe getting seen, recognition for all the work, all the hours, all the late nights, all the homework, car rides home,
Yeah.
all of that. So it's not just something that you just kind of do on the side. You do it for your life, you do it for yourself
Yeah.
in this time period that you have. So just kind of seeing people, and maybe someone's like, oh, like this volleyball game was really fun. Yeah, they are really fun.
They
So
are.
I would love to get more people interested in the sport, learn about the sport, get to see, once again, just obviously us. I would love to see people see us, but
Yeah.
just see people who love to do what they do in their element once again.
I'm saying, like, Brynn, you could start your own little like podcast of like volleyball 101.
Yeah.
This can start for Sibby, but we'll expand it to everybody. And
Hmm.
here's an outside hitter, here's a pancake, here's
Exactly.
all of it.
A
Well,
volleyball dictionary. There we
yes,
go.
There we go. I like it.
I love
Yeah,
it. Yeah.
because I probably watch more volleyball this year than I ever have, but it's
Mhm.
crazy how much it's grown, but the accessibility of it too has made it grown. I think because even when I was in high school, this was a long time ago, but when I was in high school, my high school did not have volleyball. Like, and it was
Yeah.
like very much against Title IX, but they just did it because they were so focused on girls basketball. They didn't want us to be able to practice for volleyball, so like they got away with it. And so
Yeah.
then I feel like that was not rare either. I think that happened in a lot of places. And so
Yeah.
now that's getting fixed, and you're seeing like the best athletes are like, well, if I have a choice, I'll play on both, but volleyball is really fun. Like I think I would have loved to play
Yeah.
volleyball when I was younger. And so
Yeah.
I think that's the same way for fans. If you just give it a chance, you're going to fall in love with it because y'all are high flying athletes. We're talking to one of the best athletes in the sport right here for sure. Getting up there
Thank you.
as y'all do, flying around, hitting those balls. So it's fun. And we're doing our best. Everything you said in your answer there is the reason, a big reason why we started this podcast is we
Mhm.
know the work that athletes put in. We know the schedules y'all have, and we hate the idea that y'all could do something as crazy as y'all did against Kansas, or even pushing BYU as far as you did, and
Yeah.
then get on social media and nobody would be talking about you. So like that's why we do
Mhm.
what we do.
Yeah.
But we know that there's better ways to do it. So from a player standpoint, what are ways that you would like to see the team marketed or promoted that you think would help? Like from fan standpoint, from media, from everybody.
That's a good question.
Not to put you on the spot,
I
but
think maybe I do kind of want to think about this for a second though.
yeah.
I think that the marketing is really good. Obviously, I think that they do a good job. It's a job.
Yeah.
They do an amazing job with us. And once again, I haven't put much thought into this at first, but I think what women's basketball is doing is really amazing, really, really amazing. Even today,
Yeah.
the basketball, the elementary night or elementary morning, I would say.
Yeah.
Bringing over 10,000 kids over schools from all over, what is it even called? Metroplex? I don't even know what to
I
call
don't
it.
know.
Yeah, I mean,
West
All
like
over Lubbock.
Texas.
surrounding
Let's just call it West
areas.
Texas.
Yeah.
All
They
West
said they
Texas,
came
right?
from 90
It's all
miles.
West Texas.
They came as far as 90 miles away. That's
Wow.
that's
Yeah,
the whole
and they
state at
loved
this
it.
point.
And I think it's very important because what's funny is we were walking out, me and my teammates, to go watch the game, and they're like, "Are you guys on the basketball team?" They're like, "No, we're on volleyball." And they're like, "Oh, so." And it wasn't a bad thing, but it's just like raising awareness or raising um just more attention to the sport. I would love because I'm
Yeah.
like, I play volleyball. I'm not ashamed to like say it. So
You
it's like
shouldn't be.
bringing that to young kids, young children, and let them know like, hey, like this is around. This is somewhat popular. So just letting them know like, hey, it may be cool if you want to try this, one day. So maybe not right now. Maybe yeah, if you like basketball, that's perfectly good. You can like basketball. You can like any sport you like. You
Like them
know,
all.
but volleyball is in the cards as well. Yeah.
I like that. We tweeted that
And
today, and
we're-
I meant it. That we're just keep tagging the team or the marketing, whoever we tag until they do a children's or what do they call it, an education day for basketball.
Yes,
And to me,
education
it
day.
it's awesome, and it's taken basketball a few years to grow it to what it is. But even if it started at like
Yeah.
4,000 kids showed up, like that's still awesome. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? We can grow it to where it is, and
Right.
to me, it makes even more sense for volleyball because this is not a lie. It's a fact when you look at it. It is literally the fastest growing sport in America for young girls in this country. So like there is an interest, and maybe the interest in West Texas basketball is big. I get it, football, all that, but overall,
Yeah.
more and more kids are starting to play volleyball. So I think the interest would be there the same. It's just a matter of like reaching out to the schools and on doing all that. So I think it's very possible, and we'll bug them until maybe they do it.
It's really cool to see like the support, and you're talking about like exposure and publicity and more that happens. And uh speaking of like the support network, because you said a little bit about like your parents are your biggest fans, and I love that. And we'll talk about your brother here in a minute. There's a cool story with that, but can you talk to us a little bit about like what does that support look like for you throughout the season, throughout the year? Who are your support networks, and like what is it that makes a really good support for you?
Yes. So I think for me personally, once again, I did mention my parents, and so
Yeah,
before each game, they'll talk to me or they'll give me a phone call or text like, "Good luck, like,
cool.
go kill it, go be a fire on the team, go do something that you really love to do and just be the best at it. Whether or not you may have best game of your life, worst game of your life, just be the best version of Brynn on the court." So I think that's very important to me because being an athlete is very easy to be like, oh, I had a bad game. I'm a terrible athlete. Everything I've ever done has not worked, and that's not true. So I think for me, that's also, once again, one of the growth mindsets or aspect of the sport that I want to work on a little bit is like, hey, you may have this many errors, you're not a poop player. So
Right.
I think that's, just having that reassurance from them, really helps me a lot because you don't want obviously negative thoughts in your head at all. So I think that's very important. And then them just showing up to the games whenever they can make it. So obviously I'm from Dallas, so them going to TCU, they'll go to Waco if we play in Baylor. They'll make it to OU if we play in Norman. So just going to the games, that means a lot to me because once again, you don't see them all the time. You don't see them as much as you would obviously whenever you live with them. So, and being 5 hours out is not, I feel like it's a pretty good distance. I'm just far enough, but I'm still kind of close, so I'm still obviously still in Texas. But I feel like it's a healthy little distance that I have. So them showing me that they obviously care and, making the effort to come down to Lubbock if they want to for a weekend or whatever. That means a lot to me. And then obviously, them going to Utah. That was a big deal.
That
Big,
worked
big,
out
big
good.
deal for
All
me.
around.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah, yeah.
so cool.
So I
Yeah.
think just their attendance, it's funny because I'll talk to Maddie once, her and I talk a lot. I'll talk to Maddie again. I'm like, hey, like, because you'll be in warm-ups and you're like looking for your parents, they're going to be there, they're going to be there, and then you find them and then you're settled. You feel very comforted. I feel like I do bad in warm-ups until I see them. I'm like, okay, now I'm good. I can relax. I can breathe,
It's like can't
But
y'all sit in the same
that's just
spot
kind of
every
how it is.
time? Why y'all making me search for
Right.
you?
Wear this neon green shirt,
I know.
please. God,
I
wait.
know, yeah. But they're amazing. They support me so much. They support all my siblings, like once again my brother playing football.
Yeah.
And like I said, just they give me comfort. They really, really do. They give me comfort. So I appreciate them so much. So if they're watching this, I love you guys. They might be
Love-
watching this.
We do
Yeah.
too. Yeah. That's so cool. And
Yeah.
speaking about your brother, and we were talking about this offline, off the record.
Yeah.
But
Incognito.
your brother plays for Miles Williams, right?
Yes.
Is a defensive back for which football team, Brynn?
Texas Tech fans
California
might care.
birthday.
And
How's that going this weekend?
I know, I guess a little
holiday season
rivalry.
gonna be?
Yeah. Yeah, I know. It's so funny because because we knew it was a possibility that Tech and Cal might match up. And I talked to my brother. He's like, yeah, we might be playing Tech. And my mom's like, you guys and Cal might be playing. I'm like, oh my goodness. And it's funny because Coach Tatum, one of our assistant coaches, her brother plays on the team as well. So it's like a little, it's really, really funny.
Cool.
Really funny how it works. But so that's kind of how I got really close to Tatum as well, because we kind of had that connection with our brothers. And so I was like, okay. And then I saw they released, Cal and Tech are gonna play. I'm like, oh my gosh. I was freaking out. I was screaming in my room. I called my brother, I called my mom. And the first thing I thought about actually was like, what am I gonna wear?
Need a split jersey.
What are you
that's
gonna
what I was-
wear, Brynn? What?
that was
Let
my
people
plan.
know.
That was my plan. My dad was like, maybe wear a California shirt with your Tech letterman over top. And I was thinking like, yeah, do the split
Are the
t-shirt
colors
thing.
gonna clash?
They
Like,
might clash,
Well,
but
it's fine.
that's
Yeah.
fashion. Hey, that's
Yeah.
fashion.
I know. So I'm really excited. So that's this Saturday.
Cool.
And it's funny because obviously both football teams just got there today. So I'll see my brother soon, and he's driving back to Dallas with us whenever we get done with the game. So it's been good to see my entire family, and I was like, if I wear all red, then I'll be the oddball. But if anyone were to be an oddball, it'd be me. But it'll be really good for us. I'm really happy
Yeah.
that kind of matched up like that.
It's like he can have a really good game, but Texas Tech's gonna win. That's what we're rooting for, right? Of course.
Yes.
You do great, bro, but we'll win and everybody will be happy.
Yeah.
Well, he won't be happy.
I text him, I'm like,
yeah.
Yes, number 13. I text him, I'm like, are you ready? He was like, oh yeah, I'm ready. I'm like, whatever.
She's like, you don't even know.
I know.
love you.
Exactly.
You're gonna lose, but also love you. Bye.
Oh,
Yeah.
Oh man.
that's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, I think it's like such a fitting time of year for that to happen too, right? Like y'all are, getting
Holidays.
down to the end of the year. Do y'all have any like favorite holiday traditions, or like you say you're an oddball? Like, is there any like cool things that you do that's unique during the holiday season?
Actually, no. No.
Oh, okay.
All
Y'all
right,
just,
I
y'all
wish.
just do the
I wish.
Yeah.
I wish.
normal stuff.
Yeah, we're pretty typical,
That
pretty
makes sense
pretty
too.
standard,
With
everyday
two
holiday. Yeah.
College athletes, I mean, y'all are just like, we just want to come home and see the family. Like, I don't.
Yeah.
And then even in high school,
Yeah.
I'm sure y'all were traveling tournaments and stuff. So
Wait, maybe
Mhm.
let me take a step back. What's your
Mhm.
favorite Texas Tech tradition?
Oh.
Just in general.
Oh.
Oh,
Carol of Lights.
I was gonna say this could go to
Carol
this
of Lights.
could,
Very
this could be
fitting.
your
Yeah,
also your
yeah.
favorite holiday tradition.
Yeah.
Start answering
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. Yes. I think that might be my favorite. It's just so cool. And, yeah.
so pretty.
No, that was my favorite
Mhm.
tradition when I was at Tech, and it's way better
Mhm.
now. There was like drones and a concert the other day.
Exactly.
I was like, when did that
love-
happen?
I
Y'all be
love
acting like we like
drones.
lit them. It was candles, and we went and lit
Basically
all of them.
was. I swear.
Took all
10
day.
years ago, apparently things are different now. I
Mhm.
don't know, but yeah, no, I love
Mhm.
that one.
Yeah.
A few more fun. We always like to do. We call them rapid fire, but we're gonna do holiday themed one. We'll see what you answered one there. That was holiday tradition. But so if you have to pick somebody on this team, on your team, volleyball team, to be your secret Santa, who would it be? And then also, who would you not want to be your secret Santa? You don't have to
Oh
answer
my
the second
goodness,
one if
okay.
you don't want to, but the first one for sure.
Okay, got you. Okay. So to be my secret Santa,
This
I
is
have
a
two
good
people in mind.
question.
I'm thinking
Who's thoughtful and like would
I'm thinking
actually?
Maddie Correa,
Oh, that's solid.
and then runner up would be Casey.
Ooh,
Oh.
yeah.
Yeah, runner up would be Casey. Really close. I'm
Yeah.
thinking
Okay.
Maddie Correa, but yeah,
That's fair.
and
I can
then
see
I
her
don't
really
know if I
putting a
have-
lot of thought into it.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I'm like, who has the deepest pockets? You know, That's who I want picking. That's who I want, my secret
I feel
I
Santa.
like
don't
we have
know.
similar
Some
tastes
people
in certain
sometimes that
things.
doesn't go that well. They just don't think
That's
about it.
true. That's
They'll
true.
give you something you don't want.
I feel like, yeah, I feel like Maddie and I have similar tastes in things, and like perfumes, candles, things like that. So I feel like she'll pick me out something really nice.
Do
Yeah.
you
I like that.
do you like have hobbies that are outside of volleyball, like that you dedicate time to? Like what are some of those? Is it candles and
You're gonna laugh at
Is it
this.
candles?
You might
I'm
not
not
laugh at this, actually. I like to play video games a
Oh,
lot.
you're
A
talking to
lot.
the
And,
person over here
and
that would
Tony
not laugh at
and
this.
Tony G knows this. Yeah. Tony G knows this. He knows this. We'll talk
he has
about
a
video
gamer
games.
chair, Brynn.
Yeah,
Did
I
you
know. Did you see it?
such a gamer. Anyway, keep
It's
going.
probably so comfortable. Yeah. Yeah, I'll play Sims. I have WWE, and I used to play Call of Duty and then Fortnite. So yeah, those are my
I
go-tos, and I'll spend hours.
I
That
love
would
knowing this about you. This
Yeah.
is
that would be
everything I
a
could ever hope
great
for.
podcast.
Yeah.
And you said you talked about maybe wanting to do that. You should do like a playing
Yeah.
Fortnite while interviewing volleyball people
Oh yeah.
podcast.
I need some
never
creative
focus.
ideas.
There you
Yes.
go. Any video
Yes.
game. I love this. That's great.
Mhm.
Good to know. So is there like a gaming console that like might be on the wish list this year that maybe we should plug real quick or
Let the
Or you
parents
set.
know
And that's the
if they
thing.
need some ideas.
I know. Okay, I was thinking I want to get PS5. I might get
Okay.
that for myself.
Okay.
Maybe in the spring or next year sometime.
Good choice.
And then I would think if I were to ask them for like a Nintendo Switch or something. I want
Yeah.
an old school Wii though. It's funny
Ugh.
because I was just talking to the new recruit Hannah, and I was
Yeah.
chatting with her, and she has one, and so that's gonna be
You were like,
perfect.
yeah, best roommate ever.
Exactly. I know.
It hurts me
And
a little
Maddie's
bit
like,
that
I'm gonna come over to
Wii
y'all's
is
house.
old school, but it's fine. It's fine.
Well, that was
Well,
whenever like that's
was
what
that
I
your
grew up
first
on
one?
too.
Cool.
It's fine. Yeah.
Yes.
Cool.
Yeah.
That was the one that I grew up on whenever I was younger.
Yeah.
So that's the
Awesome.
one that I want, with the joystick and all that stuff. Love that one.
Tennis.
Yeah.
So there's a couple things I want to kind of get. But
I love
Yes.
that. Yeah. Good to know.
answers.
Good to
Good
know. And,
answers.
yeah.
Yeah.
Great segue there.
Yeah.
Did we want to answer who you wouldn't want a Secret Santa
I
to
feel
be?
like she skipped over that, so she probably wanted to get
Oh,
off the hook
okay.
on
We
that.
won't-
So
we won't dig that up. We won't dig that up.
we just wanted
won't.
to see if you needed to get back
do
at
you-
anybody for anything, and that was an easy
What-
chance. But you're
What
good.
about? Do you have a favorite like holiday movie? I just saw a list of like the top 20, like America's top 20 holiday movies, and I disagreed. But that's why it's printed and on the internet. But
Yeah.
Brynn, do you have any like favorite holiday movies?
Yeah. I think, and the last time I watched it was whenever I was young, really young.
Mhm.
But Elf.
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 Ooh, that's always my
Classic.
answer.
Very
It's a
quotable.
Classic.
solid movie. You
Yeah.
can watch it every
Very,
year, and
very
it just never
quotable.
gets old.
Mhm.
I just love it.
Exactly. So that's my number one.
It's good.
What about you guys? What's y'all's number
Mine
one?
would have been
Oh,
Elf.
Wait.
So
we ask the questions around here.
Elf,
not prepared to
Elf
answer
would have
anything.
1000% been my answer. I watched it every year.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of any
I
others.
don't
I'm not
think-
like a big.
I'm not a big Elf fan. I think it's a very quotable. Like I quote it. The yellow
Yeah.
ones don't stop. But my favorite is the Grinch. Either the animated one, but mostly the Jim Carrey one.
That's
That
fair.
one's like
Yeah.
It's funny.
Okay, yeah. I can see that. That's nice.
it's very
I like
funny.
those. That's funny.
All right. So you're a competitive person. If you're going to get into a contest with your family at Christmas, would you rather it be a snowman building contest or would you rather do a Christmas light contest? Which one would you better do creatively and just win?
I'd say Christmas lights.
What kind
I'd
of
say
lights?
Christmas
Carol
lights.
lights. That
And
goes.
that's what makes it so great, because if your lights are obviously, they don't have the whole shebang going on, then
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
I think Christmas lights.
Like I
fair.
remember there was a big debate on like having either just white lights or you have different colors, and then
Colors.
within that there's a whole other game. But
yeah.
one
Yeah,
year I
I'm thinking
remember asking
Christmas
for
lights.
red and black Christmas lights, and that
Oh, yeah.
obviously doesn't make sense. So it did not
Just-
happen.
Yeah.
Just red.
Just
It's
didn't
red.
make sense. Yeah.
We'll just end it off with an easy one that maybe you can use. You already kind of gave your parents a hint on a gift for yourself. But if anyone else needs to, What is the best gift you think you can give someone, for anyone out there that, like me, is a week or two out from Christmas and has not finished their shopping? What is the best gift you can give for someone that you don't know what to buy for? Like, this is always
Okay.
a winner.
I would say like a speaker, whether it's a portable speaker or like maybe
Practical.
a
I
big
like it.
speaker. I would say speaker because I like to play music in my showers. I don't know about you guys, but I
Waterproof
do.
speakers.
And
Got
I
it.
feel like, yeah, I feel like that may be a hit personally, just because that's what I was thinking
There
about.
you go. Y'all
Yeah,
heard it from Brynn. Go out and buy whoever you can't think of a gift for a speaker.
a speaker.
No,
That's a
is
solid answer. I feel like everybody likes to listen to music, right? Or
Yeah.
podcasts
I
or
know.
motivational speeches or something. You
Mhm.
need a speaker. I like that.
that is good. And that's such a good question to ask, Shelby, because that like takes work off of my plate.
Yeah, that was honestly
well,
just a personal question because I still have to finish shopping. So thank you, Brynn.
not
Go
for
buy one
this.
for my brother.
Well, one question that I want to make sure to ask before we don't have time with you, Brynn, is like when you think about your experience maybe on this team or just with you, what are some things that, or what is one thing that you wish more people knew about? I really like asking this question to kind of just see like a different perspective. And it could be, I know we're transitioning out of holiday into like back to the team, but when you think about like this program and this team and coming into the next year, the next stage of this, what do you wish more people knew about or knew from your perspective?
I want people to know that there's still like a lot of fight. There's
Yeah.
a lot of fight still up in the coaching staff and our support staff and the athletes. You know, we're
Yeah.
not stopping. You know, our conference is tough, but I believe that we're tougher. So it's not like, yeah, the season, yeah, it's not how we wanted it, but what we're going to do, go back in time. You can't do that. So all we can do is move forward and know that we're all working hard. We're all working our butts off still to this day, right now, today. All of us are, to make sure that the program's where we want it next year. So just know that we're still fighting for this. We're not giving up on anything at all, at all. So yeah.
Love it.
Let's go. I'm ready. Is it
Been there,
season
and that's
yet?
I think another thing that
Fast forward.
we yeah, I know. And we talked
I
about
know.
too
Yeah.
how this season we consistently talked about how relentless y'all were. Like every single set, it was like what you talked about, that mentality of just 10-second or memory or what you were talking about earlier. And
Yeah.
that's what we saw with this team is there's just so much fight. They never quit. We talked about that all the time. We are like, they don't quit. Sorry.
Yeah.
It just doesn't happen. And yeah, being able to see that in full action, it's very clear that the fire is there, and I'm excited to see y'all grow and looking forward to like what Shelby is saying. Can it be tomorrow? Like
I know. I
it's so
know.
good. It's so
I
good.
know. Yeah,
It'll
it's
be
hard for life, so I'm
it'll
excited. I'm really excited.
No, that's good. We're excited. We're glad we could get you on here because we were thinking about, we'll just interview Brynn before the season, but you were hype on your announcement. We were like, no, people need to hear from Brynn right now because
Yeah.
she's excited and she'll get people excited as they head to the
Mhm.
holiday break. And maybe we'll get you on here again once the season gets a little closer and you can tell us even more how excited you are after being able to practice with everybody for 6-7 months at that point and all the new people. So we appreciate you coming on here. I think that's all we got for you, unless there's something else you want to say to the people. But otherwise, we just finish everything off with a solid recum.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, thank you guys so much. This was really fun. I enjoyed this and looking forward to next year. So, yes, thank you guys.
Thank you.
Thanks for hanging out, Brynn. And
Of course.
we'll cheer you on forever and ever. So
Yes. Thank you so much.
Recum.